Today's webinar is going to be on enhancing your InTouch website, part 2. That means we've done one of these before, and some of you may have joined me. If you didn't, you'll be okay. We're going to be covering different topics that you'll still be able to take advantage of, and you'll be able to go back and watch part 1 of the webinar and catch all the different things you'll be able to do on your InTouch website. I love my InTouch website. I use it all the time. We will do a little review of what we covered on part 1 just so you guys can know what to expect in that part 1 of that session in the event you want to go back to it. So first things first, you're going to log in to the NRT Gateway, and at the top of your NRT Gateway, you should have this top section, Home Base InTouch, and I like to log into InTouch just by clicking on the dashboard. Okay, a recap of what we did in part 1. Oh, I got to sign in to the gateway. So once you're in the gateway, like I said, to log into InTouch, you're going to click on the dashboard, and this is our main dashboard. Today we're focusing on the website side of things, but just a quick recap of what we covered on part 1. We talked about how to set up your IDX, which allows for people visiting your website to search the MLS, not just Coldwell Banker listings, but pretty much all the listings from your IDX. We also talked about your general setup, and those two things you'll be able to do from up here. If you see where it says Hi Cassandra, yours will say Hi, your name, and you're going to jump down to My Account. And you're going to see a bunch of different things that you'll be able to plug in there. If you hit Edit, you can fill in those items, including your social media links, your headshot, and this is important because your website image and your marketing images, whatever you put in here will apply to your websites and your marketing pieces. At the top, if you go to the left, you'll see MLS administration, and you will set up your MLS or IDX by following the Start MLS application. And what I'll do is when I post this webinar on the Sales Pro portal, I'll go ahead and attach the instructions on how to set up your IDX if you haven't done so already. Okay, so we're going to read through that because that was covered in the part 1 of this series. We also discussed how to embed video on your websites, how to include some photos on your website, which we might revisit as well. And so if you wanted to start editing your website, you're going to come back to this little Hi Cassandra or Hi Your Name and go to the website option right underneath Account Administration. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see all sorts of things that you'll be able to do. Some of them are flagged Pro. There's a lot of options for our Pro users. That might be something that you want to think about doing. One of my new favorite features on Pro is that they've come out with some beautiful new site themes. And so if you are Pro, you can change the theme, and you'll be able to play with those and play with the colors if you wanted to go with a different color. So that's fun. So for my Pro users, take a look at those options. Those are relatively new as far as the layouts, and I think you're really going to enjoy those. One of the things we discussed last time was changing the site image. As you can see, that's an option there on the left. And the site image is that very main image in the center of your screen. I think it's what draws people's attention on your website when they first see there. So that might be something that you want to edit. If you hit Site Images, you're going to see Current Banner, which is what you've got right now. If you hit Edit, you're going to be able to see a ton of options there as well. Now, what I found is that I like to create my own site banners, and we talked about that in our first webinar. You can use Canva, which is one of my favorite websites, canva.com. Canva.com will allow you to create beautiful images, and you can choose the sizes. So if you are going to be using Canva, I want to draw your attention. See where it says changing your banner, uploading your own file. Right underneath, you're going to see the size that the image has to be for you to be able to upload that. And that's 1920 by 768. So remember that, or make a note of it, or you can always come back here and view what that size is, because the really cool thing about Canva, that site that I use to create my own images, it will allow me to put in a custom size or custom dimensions. And so that's what I'm going to type in there, 1920 by 768. We might see Canva in a little bit. I think you're really going to enjoy that. But just giving you some options as far as changing out that site image. Now, on the left-hand side, right under Site Images, you're going to see Pages, and these correlate to the different pages on your website. One of the Pro options is that you can add, I believe, up to 3 additional pages to your website. What am I talking about there? Let me go ahead and open up my website so you can see what I'm talking about when I mean pages. Here is my InTouch site, and you see these tabs across the top: Home, Search, Sell, Communities, Market Insider blog, about. These are all different pages on my website. And so I can add additional pages. Maybe you have a blog, maybe you want to do a page on new construction, maybe you want to add additional pages based on what kind of content, maybe a video page where you can put in videos of your listings. I mean, the sky's the limit there, but you can add a new page if you are a pro user, okay? If I wanted to edit my About page, for example, that's probably where you should put your bios or any additional information about yourself. This is where I've kind of gone in and written that up, put in some images, put in some video, and like I said, you can watch part 1 to see how to embed the video or the images. But just be aware that any page here, you can kind of make some edits, some tweaks, and I think you're really going to enjoy those. Let's kind of catch up and discuss what we were going to be discussing for the Part 2 webinar, which is the Communities Served section. Communities Served allow me to, right here on my website, see the tab that says Communities? I'll be able to provide information on the different communities that I specialize in or that I serve. And so it's kind of fun to be able to do that. You can put in as much or as little information as you want, but I think that this is probably the way that a lot of people are going to access your website, because most people, when they're looking for properties for sale on Google, will type in homes for sale in Weston, or homes for sale in Coral Springs, or homes for sale in you know, Coral Gables. You guys get the idea. And so you'll be able to set up communities such as the ones that I listed. So here on the left-hand side, if you click on Community Served, I'm actually going to remove this one, and I'll show you how to set one up from scratch. If you hit Add Community, first you're going to give your community a name. That name is going to be how it's going to appear on your website. So let's say I did want to do Weston, which is one of the markets that I would serve. I would give it the name Weston. And then I can add the area that I want to be a part of that community. So I can do that by putting a zip code. I can do that by putting a city. If you really, really want to drill down, you can do neighborhoods. Just be aware that some subdivisions or some neighborhoods may not come up. So if it doesn't, what you can do is call the help desk, 1-877-NRT-HELP, and let them know you would like a community added to the InTouch community section, and they'll go through the process of getting that added for you. However, I am going to recommend that you stick to zip codes, and here's why. If you take a look here, really tiny on the right-hand side, you're going to see note, using only zip codes will add market trends data to your community page. What that means is when somebody goes to view a community on your website, once they scroll down past the listings in that area, they're going to be able to see market trends for that day, and they're only able to pull that data for zip codes. So if you put anything other than a zip code, you won't see that market data. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the zip codes that I know pertain to Weston, 33331. And notice I typed in the zip code, but I'm going to click from the drop down. See how it added it underneath? And so don't put multiple zip codes separated by a comma. You'll do one at a time. So here's another one, 33327. I'll click on that below, see how it keeps adding them, and 33326. Those are the 3 zip codes that I'm aware of that cover Weston. But notice I kind of added those one at a time. What if I accidentally added one that was not? I can just click on that little blue X and it'll get rid of that zip code. Okay, now the next section would allow me to describe the community. So I can write everything and anything that I want to write about Weston. And so this is going to be kind of a review for those of you who were with me on my first webinar on enhancing the InTouch website, because another thing I can do is maybe embed a video about Weston, maybe a video I created or a video that exists out there that I have the permission to use, or I can grab images. And so one of the things I like to do when I'm adding these communities is I'll go to the website for that city or for that community and see what kind of information they have already. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to open up another tab and look up Weston, Florida, and see if there is a website. Look at that. City of Weston comes right up. So there's the City of Weston's website, and look at that, just what I wanted to see. They have YouTube videos. So if I click on YouTube, it's going to give me the YouTube channel for that city. They have a nifty little video that says, oh, look at Weston that I can use. And so if I want to use this video, first of all, let's open it up the way a typical YouTube video would look like. So if I just click on the name of that video, oops, sure you don't want to hear the fun music, so I'll go ahead and pause that. But I've opened up the video. If I scroll down just a little bit, I'm going to see the share option. If I click on share, it's going to give me a link. Now, I don't want to put the link on my website because I put that link on my website and somebody clicks on it. Now I've directed them away from my website. So what I want to do is I want to embed that video onto my website so that when somebody clicks play, they're actually watching it on my website. So if I change it from share to embed, now I've gotten a more in-depth code here. Now, right underneath the code, there's an option that says show more. If I open show more and scroll down a little bit, there's going to be some check boxes. I have already used this before, so I only have the show player controls checked off, which is what I'm going to recommend you do. You don't want to show suggested videos when the video finishes because that's how you end up with Britney Spears on your website, which I'm sure you don't want to do. And so again, I just want to make sure that just the player controls appear, so that's when I can come over here and copy this code. Now, I'm not a very big coder. I'm not that techie, believe it or not, but I'm an expert at copy and paste. And so sometimes copy and paste, magical things can happen. So I'm going to grab this code, copy it, and I'm going to come back to where I was working on my website. So we're back to where we were able to describe the community. And so what I'm going to do is if I click on this very last button, it looks like two little sideways V's. It's the source code option. If I open that up and paste that code and hit OK, now you're going to see that that video was embedded onto my website. And so you might want to get a little more artsy and center that. Maybe you want to put a header at the top, City of Weston, or take a look at Weston. Another thing you can do is maybe create a really nice banner on Canva and put that at the top of your community. Let me show you Canva because I've kind of talked it up so much I got to share it with you. canva.com, and I use this for a lot of different things, so you'll see all sorts of different images that I've created. I might have created one for Weston already. Let's see what I've got here. If I don't, this is how you can create one. They have some predefined sizes already. If I come over here, you'll see social media, presentation, poster, blah, blah, blah. If I click on more, I can look and see maybe there's one that might look like a banner, or I can create my own by doing the custom dimensions. But in this case, I'll keep it simple. Maybe we can use this cover photo. It looks like a nice size banner. And they're going to have some designs that you can choose from already, and you'll see some are free and others are not. That being said, I've never paid for anything on Canva. If it's not free, I kind of create my own version of it. Actually, what I like to do a lot of the time is I'll scroll down past all the free ones and create my own. And you can upload your own images, and there's a lot of websites out there where you can get free stock images. Don't just go on Google and take an image that you don't have the right to use, okay? And so, you know, you can kind of play with that and look up different pictures. Now, this is an image of a listing from an agent that I have permission to use, and it is a Weston listing, so that's what I've plugged in there. But as far as those websites where you can get free stock images, you can go to, there's a website called Pixabay, Pixabay.com, that has fantastic stock images that you can use without paying any royalties. Another one that I absolutely love is Pexels, Pexels.com. They have fantastic, beautiful images. Actually, if you look on the left of my screen, all these fall images, I use those for my Happy Thanksgiving campaign, and I got those from Pexels, and I'm able to create images like that on Canva as well. So I'm using this Weston image, and I can come over here and add a shape. And some of you are wondering, why is she adding a black box over that beautiful image? And actually, I can play with the transparency, but I like to do this sometimes so I can make it dark enough where I can write over it and it's legible. So I kind of played with the transparency there. Now I can add text and change that to a white font and type in City of Weston. And you can play with the fonts. If you don't like that one, you can do something a little bit more your style. They have quite a few options there for you to choose from. You can see Canva can be a problem sometimes because it's very addictive.
So if you're like me at all and you catch yourself at 3 in the morning playing with Canva, step away from the computer. So at this point, we're just messing with the font and making it big enough to fill up that space to give us a nice looking banner so that we can download it and save it to our computer so that we can upload it on the communities page of our website. Let's take a look at how we're going to do that.
I'm just going to save this image onto my desktop somewhere nice and easy to find. You might even want to create a folder where you store your images. We can now use that for our header for our Weston community page here. What if I want to add an image? This is where it gets kind of fun because you see this little guy where it says insert or edit image. It's going to ask you for a source code or where you have that image hosted. So one of the things I'm going to recommend, most of us have a Gmail account. If you don't, you might want to create one. They have a great program called Google Photos, and you can upload the image to Google Photos and grab the source code from there. Let me show you how I do that. Google Photos. The nice thing about Google Photos is you have so much storage that you'll be able to use. It's almost hard to ever fill up. I'm going to go ahead and hit upload and look for that image we created together. And so it's going to go ahead and upload my City of Weston image. I'll open it up nice and big. And if I right-click on it, it's going to give me the option to copy the link address. And that's what I want to copy so that when I come back to my page, I can paste that right in the source. Okay? And if I hit OK, there it is. And now it's kind of big, so if you want to make it smaller, you can make it smaller. You can center it. It's kind of fun. It's blue right now because I have it selected, but if I click off of the image, you'll see that's going to be my header. Okay, and you can write about lifestyles in the city of Weston, how they have the country clubs and town center and the nightlife and the dining. I mean, you can kind of, the sky's the limit there. Now, this is important. If you scroll past that box where you would write or put a video or put in a header, notice where my little purple dot is. And for those of you who know South Florida, where I live, this purple dot is nowhere near where Weston is. This is actually down in Coral Gables, down in Miami. So I need to relocate that dot, or when somebody comes to my website, they're going to see that dot in the completely wrong neck of the woods. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and drag that dot in the general area of where it should be. Then I can zoom in a little bit and really position it where it needs to go. There's Weston. And if you really want to get more specific, you can get a little closer and put it right there. So that looks a lot better. What we're going to do at this point, you could have done a community image through here, but I wanted to show you the other way because the community image would only allow you to do a header, but if you wanted to do multiple images of that community, you would go the route that I just showed you. And then lastly, here you would now put in an SEO title. If you look at the top of my screen, I am like the tab queen of America. I open a million tabs, so I apologize. But if you look really closely at those tabs, you're going to see they have names. And so the SEO title is actually going to be the name on your tab, but it's also what happens when people search on Google Homes for sale in Weston. If you've ever searched anything on Google, you know, there's usually a header or a title before you click and go to that website. That's what we're naming. And the meta description is going to allow us to be categorized there on Google. So again, the more specific you are and the more content you put up here, the more likely you are to be found on those Google search results. But you definitely want to give it a title and a description. A description doesn't have to be too long, but, you know, click here to find out what's going on in the Weston area or to see the latest properties for sale in Weston, whatever it is that you want to say about that area. So I might type in new in Weston as my header or my title, and here I can write in click to view the latest listings in Weston. So we are done adding that community, and it has been added. So you can do this for Weston. You can do as many communities as you want. And that way, when people go to your website, they'll see the communities that you serve and what's going on in those communities. So what I do want to do is take a minute and let's click refresh so the changes that we've made can take effect. And if I go over to communities, there's Weston that we added together. And again, see why it's very important that you update it on the map, because if not, it'll say Weston in the middle of Coral Gables, and that's not accurate. So we click on Weston, they'll be able to see there's our banner that we created, there's the video, there it is on the map, and they'll be able to see homes for sale in Weston. Now I've just, and remember, if you continue to scroll down far enough, because I use the zip codes, there are the market trends for Weston. Had I picked a specific community in Weston, those would not appear. So remember, the only way to get the market trends for the community that you've added is by using the zip codes. All right, so some of you might be thinking, great, I've spent all this time updating my website, making sure my social media is on there, making sure it's got all these beautiful images and video. How do people find my website? And sometimes they will find it by Googling you, but realistically, most people are going to find your website because you're marketing it. You should be putting this obviously on your business cards, on your email signatures, but one of my favorite ways to market my website is through Facebook. Let's say I got a new listing, I might look it up on my website. Let's say this was my new listing right over here, this $519,000 home. I know it's not mine, but we'll pretend it is for right now. Notice right at the top where the web address is, this page is specific to that listing. So what I might do is copy that listing and head over to my Facebook. And right over, well, this is my personal page, but let's switch over to my business page, which I do have a real quick webinar on how to create a business page. So if that's something that you want to set up, you can catch that. That's going to be on the video section on our Sales Pro Learning Portal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to my business page. And if I want to paste the link that we just copied of that specific listing, notice it kind of created a nice little clickable box. So now I can get rid of that link and type, check out my newest listing in Weston. For pricing and additional information, click below. Now, I find that this is a lot of information they're providing. So if you don't want this to all appear here, you can actually erase that and type in, click here for more info, whatever it is that you want to write in there. Now, one of the cool things too is if it's your listing, you should have professional photography of your listing. And I'm of the mentality that you should never post anything on Facebook without an image. It just gets so much more visibility. And so if you wanted to add an image, you can upload one by just clicking on the plus sign and maybe grabbing one of your listing photos. Guess what happens when somebody clicks now on that post? It's going to take them right back to where? That's right. If you were thinking your website, you're correct. Let's actually pick one here. I'm going to remove it right away because it is not my listing, but I just want you to kind of see an example. Let's go to my stock photos. Click here for more info and publish. This is what it would look like if you were to post your listing. So if you want to click on it, now, guess where it brought them back to? And it's pretty cool the way your InTouch website is set up. Your default is set up to only have one click or one property be shown before you are prompted to provide information. So if they scrolled down and saw all these other properties and they clicked on it, they would be able to see that information, but not until they've provided a name or an email address. So the reason I'm driving traffic to my website from my social media is to be able to capture that data, capture that information so I can follow up with these potential buyers that are interested. Now, some of you might say, well, I don't have any listings. And let me go ahead and remove this since it is not my listing. Some of you might say, well, I don't have any listings. And so instead of that, what I would do is maybe you do specialize in Weston. So I would come to my website and maybe conduct a search in Weston, starting at 700,000. You do have to put in all the zeros and just hit search. And now you're going to get all these results, right? Instead of picking one listing because they're not yours, I can now grab the link to the results page, copy that, and do the very same thing that I did earlier and maybe say, check out today's latest listings in Weston starting at $700,000. Which one's your favorite? Let's show you what that would look like. And pretty cool, it actually grabbed the images. So now I can type in, check out today's listings in Weston. And I might leave that one on there. And again, When you publish it, it looks really nice, and when they click on it, it's going to take them to that search results page, and once they look on at more than one listing, they'll be prompted to put in their information. Okay, I'm going to come back to where we were editing our website, and on the left we saw community served, and you'll follow those same steps that we went through together over and over until you've got all the communities. And I know it might seem a little overwhelming right now, but let's say tackle 2 a week until you've gotten all the communities there. Once they're done, they're done. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see how you can add those communities and different ideas on how to market the website using Facebook. I do want to plug in, I do have a webinar called Facebook Marketing 101, and it shows you how to create ads. And these ads, you can do a $5 ad, a $50 ad, a $500 ad. You choose the budget, you choose the areas that you want to market them to, and basically anybody that clicks on it is being directed back to your website. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the Facebook Marketing 101 webinar. That's going to be right here in the Sales Pro Learning Portal under Browse Videos. If you click on Browse Videos, you're going to have a ton of video options that you'll be able to choose from. And so that being said, there's a way to categorize them. I have a section that is specifically social media on there. And so if you wanted to filter and only see the social media webinars, you're going to see the how to create a Facebook page that I mentioned earlier today, and Facebook Marketing 101. I also have a great one on prospecting on Twitter that you might want to catch. But these are great ways. I think social media is the best way to market your website and get people to your website, and I think you're really going to enjoy that. The last thing I want to show you is that there is a great page right on CB Florida where you can find everything and anything you need to know about how to do anything on InTouch. And so all you need to do to be an InTouch wizard is come right over to the CB Florida homepage, and if you scroll down to that most popular link section, you're going to see InTouch materials. And so all you need to do is read all of this, and you'll be great. Let me know when you're done. We can discuss it over coffee. No, I don't mean to frighten you. I actually love this page because anything that there is to know on InTouch is here. And so if I get stuck working on my website, I come right to this page, and on my computer, I'll do Control F. Notice it opened a nice little search box. If you're on a MacBook, it's going to be Command F. It'll do the same thing. And you can search how to embed video. Oh, look at that. There's a video on how to embed video on my website. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. There's a whole section on websites. So you can kind of play with that and come back to it, or you can come back and revisit this webinar in our part 1. But I think using these tools, you're going to be able to make a pretty customized, amazing looking website.